Hello, it's week 13, and here is your overview for English 101 College Composition. Here's your to-do list for the week. Please start out by watching the video, What is Multimodal Composition? That will answer a lot of your questions right off the bat. Then tackle Chapter 11 in your textbook. It has some great diagrams and those question workflows that will help you develop your ideas and figure out what you want to do for this project. And then read the assignment description for this assignment. Now, all of those are located in this week's module. So lesson, did I say 4.2? I think it's lesson 4.1. I'm sorry. Both of those are lesson 4.1 discussion, part 1 and part 2. And then, of course, you're going to start really thinking about what you're going to do for your project. Okay, before we go any further, let's just talk a little bit about what this word means, multimodality. So it's just kind of a great big word that means something that you do every single day of your life. And that is using more than one mode of communication to create a particular message aimed at a specific audience. So a mode is just a way of doing something, right? So we're talking about the modes of communication. We are talking about 5 different things. We're talking about the linguistic mode, which is using words, could be in text, could be speaking to somebody. Oral, you could also think of this as auditory, if that helps you understand it a little bit better. Using sounds. So you can see how the linguistic and the oral work together. The actual words you speak convey meaning, but so do things like the tone of voice or maybe the music that you have in the background. So all of these things convey meaning, and that's the key. Spatial, you could also think of this maybe as format. So the use of design elements like color, proximity, alignment, things like arrows, buttons for navigation. Where are they located? What color are they? How big are they? White space, contrast. All of those things add to, or if they're not done very skillfully, can actually detract from the meaning or the efficiency of your communication. Visual. Use of images of all kinds. These could be still images, they could be photographs, they could be art, they can be animated, they can be video, but anything that people have to use their eyeballs to look at. Gestural, this is like gestures. So even though you can't see me right now as I speak, I always have my hands going as if I were talking to you in front of a class. So movement of all kinds can be somebody's facial expression, the way they raise an eyebrow or cock their head to the side, the way their hands move. So we think of this as body language. So right there, when we say body language, we're getting at that idea that there is meaning behind movement, even complex body movement like dance and so forth. So all the ways we communicate, more often than not, I can't think of any outliers, but could fall into one or more of those categories. And when we say multimodality, that just means this integrated use of 2 or more of these forms happening simultaneously. So you standing up in front of a class and speaking and gesturing with your hands, and also having a PowerPoint presentation behind you. So that would be a multimodal presentation. One other word that pops up in this whole project, especially in your textbook, is this idea of literacy. So I believe that we tackled this a little bit early in the semester, but just to remind you, literacy just means the ability to read, write, speak, and listen in a way that lets us communicate effectively and make sense in the world. So everything we've been doing this semester is designed to improve, enhance your skillful literacy. And when we say multimodal literacy, it's just meaning making and meaning producing that occurs through the reading, viewing, understanding, responding to, producing, and interacting with multimedia and digital texts. Okay, so I hope you all kind of have a good sense of what we're working with now. Let's talk for a minute about what this project entails. So the things to remember are you're going to start with your research paper. So you're not coming up with a new topic. You're going to work with the very same topic that you just finished writing about for your research. You do not have to do any more research. You don't have to find more sources. You are just going to work with what you have right now. So the target audience for that paper was me and your peers. And that's one of the main things that's different about project number 4, because now no longer are myself or your peers your target audience. Now you need to come up with another different target audience for this particular information or message that you want to convey. So this can be a real audience, it could be a group or somebody that you already know, maybe somebody that you even interact with. It could be somebody hypothetical. So I don't want you to make up like an imaginary audience. We're not writing for aliens or anything. This has to be a plausible, realistic audience that could conceivably want or need the information or message that you want to convey to them. So let me give you an example. I will even choose an example from a paper that I just finished reading for this class. So somebody wrote about the important role that waterfowl hunters play in the conservation of waterfowl and migratory bird species. Okay, great topic, really well done. So what could they possibly do for their multimodal project? Well, the very first thing would be to think about what would be a good audience. Let's see. Maybe a group of people who are hunting enthusiasts and may not, be fully appreciative of the important role they play in waterfowl conservation. Okay, that's one possible audience. Another audience could be people who maybe they are not hunters, but they're not, strongly opposed to hunting. It's just not something they think about a lot. And you want to educate them on the important role that hunters play in conservation. All right, so now you have kind of a neutral audience. What if you decided that you wanted to communicate with an audience who was maybe strongly opposed to hunting, who only saw it as the destruction of these beautiful migratory birds? Okay, well, you want to at least educate them. You realize you might not fully persuade them to embrace hunting, but you want to educate them on the role that hunters play in conservation efforts. Okay? So you would probably come up with a different type of multimodal presentation or project for each one of these different audiences. So first of all, choose what audience you want to communicate with and be very clear on what their needs are, what their desires are, how you want to shape this message just for them. And then you need to come up with an actual form of a multimodal project. Like what is the tangible project or product that you're going to create that is tailor-made for this particular audience and topic? So let's see. Let's say that you're going to attend an annual conference of hunting enthusiasts. Okay, so it's a 3-day conference. There's going to be lots of speakers. You are signed up to be a speaker on waterfowl conservation and the role that hunters play. All right, so let's see. probably a presentation, like people file into the big ballroom and there's the big giant screen and you've got a PowerPoint and you have practiced your delivery, you're standing up in front of them, and so there it is. All right, so you've got this group of people that are enthusiastic about the topic of hunting, but maybe do not fully appreciate how hunters contribute to waterfowl conservation. So that's going to be the message in your presentation. So right away, we know there are going to be probably some very beautiful pictures of migratory birds and marshes and maybe video of birds flying. There's going to be some music, because music helps convey emotion, but there needs to be certainly a strong element of logos. So you're probably going to have some slides that contain data about maybe the amount of money that's generated through things like duck stamps and other taxes on hunting licenses. And maybe you're going to have some photographs of conservation projects. Okay, so all of those things are going to go into this big, beautiful PowerPoint presentation. But you're also up there speaking, so you have to include that as part of your project, which means that you're going to have to record your voice just as if you were presenting it to this big ballroom full of people. All right, so you may not quite know how to do that yet, maybe if you haven't fooled around with that in PowerPoint, but it's easy to learn. And so there's your project. A PowerPoint presentation geared toward this very specific audience with this very specific purpose in mind. All right, that's just one example. So yours is going to be absolutely unique to your topic and the audience that you choose to communicate. And here are just a few examples of things you might choose from: a big research poster, a podcast, a lesson plan, something you want to teach maybe to elementary or middle school or high school, a blog post, a video blog, infographic, newspaper article, instruction manual, photo essay, a video, a website, advertisement, storybook. Oh, last semester I got the best multimodal project, and it was a digital children's book, and it was genius. It was so, so good. I loved it. Journalism, a comic, an animated short, a collage. All right, all kinds of different things that you can do. All right, very quickly here, because I'm running out of time, 2-part discussion post. The first part due on Wednesday. You have some prompts there to respond to. I want you to reflect on the sorts of multimodal projects you've done in the past. How do you communicate multimodally in your everyday life? I want you to describe 3 ideas that you currently have for remixing your research project. So right away by Wednesday, you have to come up with 3 good ideas. And what are some of the potential obstacles or problems that you might face in executing this? You might have an idea for a project, but not quite know, from a technical standpoint, how to make that happen. If you've never done any animation before, or you've never, done a blog post. Okay, so really be honest. What do you think might currently be standing in your way from making the project that you want to make? Number 2, due on Sunday. Now I want you to develop the ideas for your project in much greater detail. So I'm not even going to read the prompts. It's up to you to do that. Make sure that you answer each prompt completely. This isn't for me, this is for you. By the end of part 2, you should have a pretty clear, solid idea of what you're going to do going forth. All right, and as usual, I'll be standing by for office hours on Monday. That's the 3rd, between 11 and 12. You can always contact me via the inbox on Canvas or the Ask the Instructor discussion forum. So I'm super excited about seeing what you come up with for your multimodal project. And let me know if you have any questions.